who had never needed to stand on her own, struggled the most. Opportunities dried up, connections stopped answering calls. The same relatives who once praised her beauty now offered advice, laced with judgment. And suddenly, unexpectedly, my phone started ringing. At first, it was casual, just checking in. "We haven't heard from you in a while. You should visit sometime." I kept my responses polite, distant, neutral. Then the tone changed. They started asking questions. Where was I working now? What exactly did I do? Was it stable? I didn't brag. I didn't lie. I simply answered. And every answer landed heavier than the last. I could hear it in the pauses, the recalculations, the quiet realization that the child they overlooked had built something solid, something real, without them. The day my father asked me hesitantly whether I could help the family out a little, I knew the roles had finally reversed. Not because I wanted revenge, but because for the first time they were looking at me. Not as the less pretty sister, not as the simple one, not as the background character, but as the one who survived. And they were only just beginning to understand what they had lost. When the call finally came, it wasn't subtle anymore. My mother's voice was softer than I remembered, careful, measured, as if she were speaking to someone important, someone she couldn't afford to offend. "We're going through a difficult phase," she said. "Your father isn't well. The stress has been a lot." I listened in silence. She talked about debts without naming numbers, about bad luck without admitting mistakes, about how family should stand together in hard times. Then she said my name the way she used to say my sister's. Not rushed, not distracted, intentional. "We're so proud of you," she added quickly, like an afterthought she hoped would stick. I closed my eyes. That sentence should have healed something in me. Years ago, it would have meant everything. I would have cried. I would have rushed home. I would have given them whatever they asked without question. But now it just felt late. I agreed to visit, not because I felt obligated, but because I needed closure. Walking into my childhood home felt like stepping into a museum of other people's memories. The walls were the same, but the energy was different, quieter, heavier. The laughter that once revolved around my sister had faded into tension. She was there, sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone without enthusiasm. For the first time, she looked unsure, not radiant, not admired, just human. When she looked up and saw me, her smile faltered. "Oh," she said, "you're here." Not "I missed you," not "I'm glad to see you." Just surprise, mixed with something that looked dangerously close to insecurity. Dinner was awkward. My parents watched me more than they ate. Every word I spoke seemed to recalibrate their perception of me. When I mentioned work casually, my father asked questions. When I spoke about travel, my mother leaned in. They were finally curious, and that hurt more than indifference ever did. After dinner, my father asked to speak to me privately. We sat in the living room, the same place where he once told me, "You should be more like your sister. Life is easier when you're beautiful." He didn't remember saying it. I did. "I won't sugarcoat this," he said. "We need help. Financially. We've exhausted our options." There it was. The reason. I nodded slowly. "And if I couldn't help?" He hesitated. "We'd understand," he said, but his eyes said otherwise. That was when something inside me finally settled. "I can help," I said, "but not the way you expect." They looked relieved too quickly. "I won't give money," I continued. "I'll help you restructure. I'll connect you with advisors. I'll guide you, if you're willing to listen." Silence. They weren't expecting